So it's Pet Month on WDHA. Welcome to May. Welcome to Pet Month, powered by Tito's Handmade Vodka, vodka for dog people. TC here. I'm along with Rosie, also along with a really good friend of mine, Eda Breslin, who I've known forever. Eda, I believe you were on the very first Rock and Rough segment that we ever did 11 years ago at WDHA, right?
That is correct, with Apple, the little puppy.
I remember Apple, the little brown puppy. It's so
Yep.
amazing that now Apple is 11 years old, now a
Yeah.
senior dog. And we had these dogs on Rock and Rough oh so long ago. And I've also known you and admired you for such a long time because of your involvement in rescue. And you go above and beyond. You're not just sort of a rescue volunteer, but you have some very interesting stories. You're a
Always.
fosterer. You've fostered certain animals for a really long time. So talk to me about your background in rescue. How long, how did you get into it? And why is it so gratifying for you to be part of the dogs, cats, these animals' lives?
You know, it, I've always kind of been a person that's gone to the underdog, and I've always wanted to help those who needed me the most, or just needed help the most in general. I got involved in rescue when I adopted my first dog at 24. You know, moved out of the house to get a dog and got one 3 days later. And, he had some issues. He was very scared, and he came from a shelter where he was for about a year and a half before coming to his rescue. And going into that as, a young, newly independent woman, um, you fly by the seat of your pants and you learn with your animals. So me having done that kind of brought me to the next step where I wanted to do that with others who maybe didn't have a family yet. So, and get them to that point where they could be safely adopted and live happy lives. But, I have typically taken in those who really needed the extra help. Dogs with behavioral issues or medical issues, just those who needed a little something extra than shelter life or, a regular foster could handle. I've got the capabilities. Hi, buddy. I've got the capabilities to do that because I do work from home. So I'm home with them all day. So that's always been a big plus. I have the time.
So I wanted to talk to you because you now have a dog in your home, and we're friends on social media. So I've kind of followed the journey of this dog, Thiago, right? You call him Baby T?
Yeah,
He
baby T.
is, first of all, he's beautiful. He's a Dogo Argentino, which is a very
Yeah.
interesting breed. A lot of people will say, oh, it's a white, he's a white pit bull. And then you go, no, you do a little more detective work, and they kind of are bully-ish kind of looking, but they look to me always almost more like Great Danes. Some have the
Yeah.
croppy ears and some have the floppy ears.
Yep.
So you heard about Tiago where? Was he in a shelter? Was he somewhere? How did he get to you?
Yeah. So Tiago, well, interestingly enough, you're never looking for that dog when it happens, right? So I had a Dogo Argentino previously, and I had lost him. And I had been talking to my vet and my vet techs about that. Just, hey, if anything ever happens or you happen to see one, just kind of let me know. And a week after I lost Sierra, my vet tech sends me a text, frantic. There's a Dogo Argentino. He's a puppy. He needs help. Somebody, they're talking about putting him down. He's got some medical issues. You need him. If he goes anywhere, he's going to your house. So she gave me the name of the person who was at that point giving him away, and kind of a little bit of heartbreak, right? You've just lost your dog. You're not looking. And when I PM'd him, he said, "Oh, you're 5 minutes too late. Somebody just picked him up." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, I have I have Dogo experience if you happen to, if he happens to come back or anything." And about 15 minutes later, he PMs me and says, "You're never going to believe this. They brought him back. He's too big. His wife said he was too big."
He's too big.
Too big. And at 6 months, he was about 70 pounds. So
Wow.
I think they were expecting a large white pit bull, like you said, and that is about 3 times the size. Thiago was about 3 times the size of the dog that they were expecting. Um, Now, add on to that, I was told that, he needs to nap a little bit more. He's got some medical issues. They thought maybe it was a brain issue or cardiac. So we went into it really not knowing what to expect with him. And with Tiago, he's passed out right now. He found himself a bone. But Tiago was actually diagnosed with narcolepsy and cataplexy.
That's crazy. See, that's why I wanted to
Yeah,
have you sort of on this Zoom with me, because I think that's so interesting. First of
yeah,
all, you're expecting the worst. You
yeah,
see that maybe he's looking like neurologically something might just not be right. So you're thinking, oh my gosh, brain tumor, some kind of cardiac issue where oxygen's not getting to the brain. You're
right,
thinking the worst for this dog, that he might be like sort of a hospice case. You don't know how long he's going to be. And then you find out he has narcolepsy. I've never heard
right.
of a dog. And for those of
Yeah,
you who are maybe like, wait a minute, what's narcolepsy? It's when you fall asleep sort of just kind of at will. It happens out of nowhere.
yeah,
So that's why I found this to be so incredibly interesting, because he's a special needs dog. But sometimes if you find out that your pet or a pet that you're thinking about adopting has some sort of different needs than another dog, this dog has brought you a lot of joy, a lot of
yeah,
contentment. And talk to me
yeah.
about, first of all, you must have been really relieved to find out that it was narcolepsy and not a brain tumor.
I cried. So what happened was when I got him home, um, when I got him home, he was everything was new here, and with narcolepsy, he gets triggered relatively easily by new things or any kind of um, stimulus. So being in a new house with new food and the other dogs and the new smells and new people in general, I put his food bowl down and he dropped to the floor with his face
Oh,
down.
poor little guy, big
So
guy.
we had him here for about an hour, and that was not what I was expecting and not really what I was told was going to happen. So off we go, shove the poor dog back in the car, and off to the emergency vet we go, because at this point it's about 11 o'clock at night on a Friday. So we
Well,
go and
that's
they
when
run
the dogs always get sick. Either,
always, always. It's
Sunday,
never any
Friday
good
night
time.
at 11 o'clock. That's what
Right, right.
happens.
So, they run all of the tests, they do all of the blood work. He comes back totally fine. They didn't see a thing with him. So now I'm thinking I'm crazy. But we get him home and he does it again. So Monday morning, I'm, determined to see my vet. And I'm texting my vet tech, and my vet as all of this is going on, going, I don't know what to do. And, we make it through the weekend scared, and he's had multiple episodes, and sometimes the episodes are as simple as him just taking a nap like he's doing now, and sometimes they're literally just him falling flat on his face while he's walking. um
Oh, baby.
I know, and sometimes it's dropping to his knees, so they manifest themselves in different ways. So Monday morning I call my vet and I'm like, I need the emergency appointment. This we have to figure this out. And I bring him in, and you get him into the room, and the first thing everybody does is ooh and ah over him because he is a giant pony of a puppy. And he's so well behaved and he just wants to love on everybody. So the first thing everybody does is they give him a treat. With the treat comes, his brain going, oh my God, food, and down he goes. So they were able to see it. And my vet jokingly goes, I think it's narcolepsy. And I start laughing. I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. um, you know, and then he was like, no, I'm serious. I think it's narcolepsy. And I was like, can dogs even get that? And, now all the vet techs are, you know, freaking out and doing their own research. And we're all sitting in the office and we're like, everything fits. It might be narcolepsy. So in his vet practice, he's never seen a narcoleptic dog before.
Now, who was the vet you went to? Because I think for a vet, we got to give this vet a plug, because I think the
Oh,
vet in the veterinary
1,000%.
hospital deserves a plug, to
Yeah.
actually take the time to have something go off and say, you know what? As crazy as it sounds, I'm not ruling this out. So who did you see that was so
Uh,
open-minded?
Dr. Minervini, Flanders veterinary practice,
Good.
Flanders vet. Yeah. So, and he's been my vet since 2004, and he's helped all of my animals, and I trust him with anything. So when he says to me, hey, it's probably narcolepsy, um, let's send you to a neurologist to make sure. I'm like, all right, well, let me know where I need to be and when. And he made a couple of phone calls, and by the next week, that next Monday, we were at Penn Vet with Dr. Galbin, and Thiago was formally diagnosed by a geneticist and a neurologist uh, using one singular meatball was how they diagnosed him. He plunked himself down over one chicken meatball, I think it was.
I don't
And
blame him. I love
yeah,
chicken
right,
meatballs. I could totally.
right. And yeah, they called me right from the office and said, it is definitely narcolepsy. Here are
Wow.
your medical options for him. And it's as simple as giving him a pill twice a day. And, the episodes that he's had, it's been 2 weeks now, and they've decreased significantly. So
And do they think too, the more comfortable he gets in your home, the more comfortable he gets with your dogs? I saw him on social media with your dog, your husky dog.
Bumble, yeah.
And they seem to really have a great synergy, a
They,
great brotherhood together.
they love each other. And Thiago, since he started the medication and since it's not new anymore, his episodes have really decreased down to sometimes once or twice a day. And the complete passing out, the cataplexy part of it, has almost completely disappeared. He needs an extra nap every now and again, but in very exciting news, Bumble goes to daycare every day because he's a 9-month-old husky and he needs to run it out. Thiago is going to be starting twice a week at his daycare as well.
He's going to daycare now. See?
Going to daycare. It's important to keep them, mentally and physically stimulated. And when you're, working from home and, in the middle of a pandemic and you can't have people over, you send them to people.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a great idea, especially for a new dog in your home and a dog that is going to grow to be such a large dog.
yeah,
If you're saying now that he loves people, now is the time to get him socialized with people. I think
exactly.
it's an awesome point because it's been so hard for people who've
Yeah,
gotten new pets during the pandemic and yet they still couldn't be socialized right off the bat, and there weren't, your puppy kindergartens or your basic trainings or all your, sort of things like that. So yeah.
yeah. So he's gonna go learn to play with other dogs and meet new people. And the narcolepsy be damned. We're moving forward like a normal puppy, and that's huge. He goes and visits the park. We have a play date with our friend Carol and her dog Tess every Saturday, and he's learning to swim. And he's really just a typical puppy. When he needs a break, he gets a break, and he's right back up. So it's fantastic.
I need to see pictures of him in daycare. So are you
I
going to be
will.
posting pictures, photos when he goes to
Oh yeah.
daycare? Because I need to see
Oh,
those.
absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
Eda, I really also wanted you to be inspirational for people because people may have pets that get diagnosed with something that's a little off the wall or something different or something where they have to administer medication or perhaps an
Yeah,
injection. And I want you to speak to, kind of truth to power. And you've gone through these kinds of things with other animals that you've had. Um,
absolutely.
Talk about advice that you would give to people that maybe got a diagnosis that was a little scary for them or something different than they expected for their animal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, life has a way of throwing things at you that you're not necessarily expecting, right? And with an animal, it's really no different. They're the same type of family member as, your brother, your sister, your child, your any parents, grandparents. You do for them what you would do for the rest of your family, right? So yes, sometimes the medication can be scary, or hearing those words. I remember when Sierra was diagnosed with cancer, I took it so hard. She was my dog, my best friend, and I took it probably the same way that I took it when my mom was diagnosed with cancer. You do the thing where you get over it and then you trudge forward as best you can. um Medications, shots, shoving pills down your dog's throat, that it's a temporary inconvenience for 5 minutes. They you know dislike you for 3 minutes, and then they get their piece of cheese, and you know they're over it. It's us that we have to remember that they don't care how bad it is in that exact moment. What they care about is the love and affection that getting those medications gives them. They get their lives back. And that is something that I kind of remember, when I have to do these things that I personally dislike doing. I don't want to give my dog a shot. I don't want to give them an IV. I don't want them to be sick, but doing the things that make them better does just that. It makes them better, and it gets you back to your normal life with them. Whatever that life may be. With us, we take things a little bit slower, but he's a normal, happy puppy who is going to live the best life that he can because I have to give him a pill twice a day. So,
yeah. And I think sometimes we forget how resilient they really are.
Yeah.
Animals are so incredibly resilient. I had a friend who recently had to have a dog that had to have a limb removed, and she was so beside herself. And I said, no, he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. He's going to learn to go around on 3 legs, and
Yeah.
he's going to be
And
okay.
they do it so
It's
quickly.
us, Yeah.
Yeah. They do it so quickly. They adapt so fast. Animals are truly incredible just for that reason alone, right? They don't dwell in what happened. They dwell in what's happening now. They lose a limb, they adapt. They learn to run on 3 legs. They learn to swim with 3 legs. Thiago learns to, fall asleep on cushy couches instead of on the floor. But
I want to see him. Where can we see him before we zoom
absolutely.
out with you? I want to see his little face because I fell in love with him on social media. Look at your baby. Look at your baby. Oh my gosh. And he loves you.
He's the best. He's my favorite snuggle buddy now.
Uh,
He sleeps in bed with me with his head on the pillow underneath he's got his own little blanket, and he sleeps tucked in. He's the cutest thing. He's so snuggly.
you need to write a book. Thiago, the Narcoleptic Dogo.
I know.
By Eda Breslin. This needs to be a children's book. I think for kids that are maybe going through tough times or have been diagnosed with a condition that is different than everybody else's, I think Thiago has sort of a path in life and a mission that he should probably take.
That's probably not the worst idea ever.
Yeah.
People do connect with him even through social media.
I connected with him, and I was like, I got to get you on for Pet Month. You have a narcoleptic Dogo Argentino puppy that you didn't know what was wrong with him. It's such a unique story, and I think it's very inspirational.
A rare breed with an even rarer condition, what
so rare and inspirational for people where, if your animal gets diagnosed with something that seems a little bit offbeat, or don't be afraid to ask questions, because in a million years, I would never have thought to say to a vet, maybe the dog is narcoleptic. I would have been afraid that they would have said, Terry, you're out of your mind. So I'm so happy you had such great veterinary care with open-minded professionals.
I love him. I love my vet. He's really, truly incredible. And he saved my dogs time and time and time again. And I never have the normal, easy, they've got a little touch of something. It's always, this one's got cancer. This one's narcoleptic. This one's, a little bit neurotic. And, it's always an adventure with my dogs.
That is your lot in life as well. Yeah. I can't wait to meet him. I can't wait until we're all sort of out of lockdown. By the way, on a completely separate note, I saw you on television. You've also been somebody who's been very instrumental in getting senior citizens vaccinations during the whole pandemic. And you were one of those people that was working on the internet to do that. So thank you for your great service in doing that. You helped a lot of people and gave a lot of people a lot of peace of mind. It was amazing work. And I saw you being interviewed on television, and you did just a great job.
And it's funny too, today I spent my day at a vaccine clinic specifically for underprivileged and underserved communities. So I was helping out and passing out snacks and telling people when they could get up after their 15 minutes. But I was there from 9 o'clock this morning through about 3:30 this afternoon. So, yeah.
Yay. You know what? Thiago's doing all the sleeping that you should be doing.
I know. It's true.
I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you in person and meet him. And thank you so much for coming on and telling his story.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime we can get it out there. And I'm going to take you up on that children's book.